Hey everyone, this is Joey Murphy here with lightsatwholesale.com. We have Aaron King. So this is going to be episode 9. Aaron King, he's discussing how to take action and how it's paramount to growth. So with Aaron is he was in our last class, me and Jason Guyman, and what happened with Aaron that really stood out to me was of how fast he took action. It was insane. Every time we said something, he would just go do it. He was being an architect of his business in the class. And sometimes you don't see that. Sometimes you see people sitting there and they start doing some things, but really it's taking notes to do it later. Aaron was doing it in the class. And I said, how much stuff have you done already? And we were counting up our fingers and it was like 6, 7. And then he was only on the second day of the 3-day training. And I was like, you need to get to 10. And here's a couple more things you can do. He was setting stuff up in the middle of the night inside the conference room and stuff like that, taking pictures, posting to his Instagram. So it was really refreshing to see all that. And as we talked and developed on the last day, I was like, dude, I would love to have you on my podcast to talk about it and what makes you so different of your mindset to take that action. So I wanted to introduce Aaron here in a second. This is Aaron King right here. He owns SLO Holiday Lights. Let me try to get this separated. There we go. And he owns SLO Holiday Lights. He's in, I believe, Central California is what he told me. We're going to play some music, and then I'm going to bring Aaron in real quick to tell him about himself. This is our music for the show. This is the theme, the anthem. Christmas is coming. This is Christmas in July, you guys. We are swamped. Absolutely swamped. And I don't know when it's going to end, to be honest with you. I think we're in season right now. This is the earliest that's ever started. So let's welcome Aaron King to the show. Hey, Aaron, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and just what you're in Central California. Is that correct?
Yep. So we're out of San Luis, so we call it SLO. But yeah, Central California, kind of bit midway between San Francisco and LA. So kind of the spot that everyone's going to nowadays, getting out of the city. And so up and coming.
Yeah. Well, I asked is like, how does California work, right? Because I'm not in California. I know there's a lot of Christmas companies in California, but I was like, is it booming around there? Like, how does it happen? There's Southern California, Northern California, and I'm not too familiar with all of it. So can you tell us about your like service area, kind of how you got started, what you currently do, whatever your plans for the future? Just give us a little bit insight to Aaron.
Yeah. So our SLO or San Luis Obispo. So like I said, we're kind of between San Francisco and LA. Kind of this area, it seems to be that the market, it's a pretty wide open market. There's a couple companies that do it, but nothing like DFW or LA. So we had a big light company come out of LA to do a install up here, and it kind of got me thinking again, like, hey, like I need to bring this, I need to start doing it again, and I'll kind of touch on that. So my story. So we moved from California. We moved to Oklahoma. For a little bit, but well, I was on the fire department there, and kind of like a lot of people's story, that their starting point is I started while I was on the fire department. I was kind of trying to figure out what I was doing, and I had a gutter cleaning business, and I was like, well, what else can I do? And a bunch of the guys were like, well, we hang lights. And I'm like, yeah, but we're moving back to California. I don't know if I really want to do it, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So kind of off the whim, I bought 300-yard signs and just jumped all in. I found Jason's class, Jason Guyman's King of Pressure Washing class, and that's kind of what really got me going on it. So I watched all the videos there and just jumped in. Ended up doing about 35 houses, and I think I started right before Thanksgiving, so I really crammed them in there, and then it just took off. So that's kind of my story of how I got into that. But like I said, I'm in California. I'm married 10 years, beautiful wife, beautiful 3 kids. So
Wow.
that's kind of my why and what I'm pushing for. So going back, so we were in Oklahoma doing lights. And
Hold up right there. So
yeah.
in Oklahoma, Did you do Oklahoma State University for your fire service stuff, or you just got on with the department around there?
I got on with a department there. So I was a fireman for LA City for almost 4 years before we moved, and then when we moved, I got hired with more fire department. So that's where I was for almost a year before moving back. But yeah,
Yeah,
those
because
it's
I
those
know,
guys' fault that got me
yeah,
going on it.
it's their fault. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they help pivot you in a different direction. But
yeah,
yeah, I know Oklahoma State University, because I had a fire science degree and all that stuff, is they help contribute to the IFSTA manuals, which are the manuals and books that you learn about firefighting. So I was like,
yeah,
I mean, that is a
yeah.
really good place to be, like, get started.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy how different it is. Like
yeah.
it's totally different. Like there's like, hey, have you guys heard of this? And they're like, we don't even deal with that. Like, what's a high rise?
That's
But
right.
nah, but it was really good. It was a really good experience, and I miss the fire department and miss the guys. But once I get
Yeah,
talking about it, that's when I really miss it. But otherwise, I'm good.
yeah, it's
But
out of sight, out of mind, right?
exactly. So
Or distance makes the heart grow fonder,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
So
we got a
so
couple comments in here real quick. Look, this is Ron Roby
uh,
saying, "What up, boys?"
what's up, Ron? Heard your name a couple times this class. So
Yeah,
all
he
good
was talking
things.
about. And then Tyler's like, "Nice to see you both again."
Tyler, what's
Tyler
up?
Tyler wants a reunion of the class and everything. It was pretty awesome that everybody
Yeah.
wants to like meet up again and do these things. I think it was a big success. Yeah. So we know a little bit about you. You got a family, you got 3 kids, you got a beautiful wife and kids and everything. You're in Central California. You
Yeah,
were
so we moved
firefighting.
back.
Yeah, you moved back because you went to Oklahoma and then you relocated again, right?
Yeah, so kind of a little bit more on that story real quick. So when we moved back, I started working for a general contractor, working as just a carpenter, and I took a season off. Wasn't really sure if I was going to do lights again, and then last year would have been my first year here back, and kind of did the same thing. I kind of jumped in, 300 yard signs. That was my way of marketing. Didn't kind of go out and do anything else. Um, but did Jason's class again, and kind of learned the ropes all over again. But really sold the bulb. Just didn't wasn't selling to the best of my ability. So what really changed everything was this class, and I think we're going to talk about it here in a
So
little
did you
bit.
go to
But
one of Jason's class before? I know you've been following him and everything. And
yeah, I didn't go to any classes. I followed his stuff. I was on his Zoom calls, did all that stuff. I was like long time listener, always never said anything. Um, yeah,
you said long time listener, like we're live. Hey, coming in. I'm a long time listener here.
yeah,
But
exactly.
Jason does
So
have a long following. I mean,
it,
his
it,
videos and stuff. I started tracking how much he did. He even
yeah,
said it in class of how many videos he made, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, it was like
you've done this
17.
nonstop.
It was like 1,700 or 1,900 videos. It was crazy.
Yeah. And then he's got over
So
200 blogs and stuff. I'm like, man, this dude is
yeah,
putting in some work.
yeah.
You know?
So it's definitely the experience to back the training in the class. So definitely worth listening to when he says something. So
Absolutely. Well, look, here's your let's add this to the stage. Remove this, add this. We got your website here. There
yeah.
we go. So let's
So yeah,
roll.
so
Tell
we're
us
kind of
about when did you create this website?
yeah, so we just created this. We're still working out the kinks out of it, but that's kind of like one of those things, like taking those actions, just kind of getting it up and going. Kind of putting some what would you call it? Um, Kind of backing the name. Like, hey, like I'm actually someone that's out here, a reputable company that's putting in the work to provide the highest quality of service. You know.
Oh yeah, you get is that so
So,
that's your slogan. Don't risk a fall, give us a call.
yep,
Right. And so
that's
you
it.
you harp on the hey, you don't have to do this yourself. You don't have to take it. It is a high risk thing because that's
Yep,
one big thing I do want people to be aware of. Like this is risk and there is skill involved, and it's a business that has both. And
yep,
so, DIY stuff is if people aren't on roofs very frequently and stuff like that. There's tools that we have, and if you're up there and you're acclimated all the time, you get a little more comfortable, right? I always say with heights is I'm not scared of heights, but I respect heights.
oh,
So a lot of
definitely.
times when I'm high up, I know I'm high up and I may move more calculated a little bit because I know that hey, if I mess up, it's going to hurt a lot more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
So
look, you got sliders. I don't have
look at that.
sliders. I'm going to have to
Hey,
talk to Chelsea about these sliders, dude.
California leading the way.
And then you got videos. This looks good to me. It hits all the points. You got it about us, services, portfolio. You hit all the SEO marks, I feel like. So I feel like you're doing the right thing, man. So how long have you been in business then? It's pretty new, right?
Say what you cut out. Say that again.
How long have you been in business?
So I guess last year would have been my first season. So going about probably close to a year now, like up and running, like the way to do it, the right way. So yeah. So
well, that's fine.
I definitely wouldn't recommend going the other way because you just open yourself up to a bunch of liability and issues that you don't want to deal with.
Well, we all get started somewhere though, right?
Yep, that's true too.
Same thing with me is it was a side hustle before it became a real thing. I think people who hop into it full force, they end up winning faster, better than, hey, I'm a firefighter, but I'm going to do this on the side. And then you just have a toe in the water,
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. So let's move it forward. Let's do the class, because I know you got a lot to say about this class, and I want you to tell pretty much, your favorite things about the class. If you would like to see more stuff, maybe why you would like to see more stuff for your business, so we can help improve the class. But I do want to know what you like most about it and how you're going to take that and affect change, because you are an action taker. You're very much an action taker. You'll hear something and that if you don't do it right now, that it may not get done. And so you just do it immediately and you check off those tasks really quickly. A lot of people that I see end up delaying, or they tell themselves something of what may stop them. I do feel like there's no speed bump you can't, get over, any adversity that may get thrown your way. And I think that's what makes a really good business owner is you will have to overcome adversity. But a lot of times is if you just remedy the problem and mitigate the problem right then. So you're a big problem solver. That's what I feel like is you don't let things get in your way and you just solve the problem. Even if it faces and says, hey, here's a problem. You're just like, okay, well, let's tackle it real quick. And so I love that characteristic, your character on that topic. So tell us a little bit more about the class and what was your favorite things.
Yeah. So I think one thing to start off with that kind of saying that action taker and kind of figure it out mentality. I don't know if I've always been that way. But I think what did it was, I want to say the fire department, because that's the mentality we have. Like you go and you're like, it doesn't matter what's going to happen. Like, we're gonna figure it out, whether it be like you did the rescue stuff, like whether it be tying off, like we're just gonna figure it out and make it happen. So I think that's been a big factor and just kind of in this process. So it was a 3-day class. It was great. It's kind of like there's no words for it. It's like, where do you start? So I know like sometimes you fall into
stop right there. So you're saying there's no words for the class. Where do I start talking about the class? Right.
Yeah.
Like it's so much that you're like, well, let's start from the beginning, I guess.
Yeah, like that's really the only place you can start, because otherwise it's just going to be a lot of rambling, because there was so much information that we tried to squeeze in 3 days. Like this could have been a week class and we still wouldn't have covered all the information that you guys had available. So with that, so the first day was I think it was just the basics, just hey, like I know we had a wide variety of people in the class. So from people that were like brand new, never touched a light, to people that I was kind of in the middle, but to some people that had done it a couple years. So a wide variety. So just going in with an open mind of like, hey, like I'm going to learn something no matter what. Like, so we were going through day one troubleshooting, just kind of learning the basics, quote unquote, but learned tons that day. Like, don't overestimate touching back on the basics. So
well, I feel like that's what Jason does really, really well, is like we always like try to focus on all the specialty stuff, or I know we do, and I have to bring up myself back as to where's the bread and butter of the business stuff, and to keep doing those things and don't get distracted. And so, like, I feel like that's what Jason does really, really well, is that he gets down to the basics and he says, if you don't do these things, here's the blueprint. But if you don't do these things, like, you're not going to be as successful, you know. And
Exactly.
then on the third day, I felt like we took it even further.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
And we'll get there. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, and that's kind of jumping to the third day is just like you start at the basics and you build from there. If you don't have a good base or structure, like, you're not going to do very well. So that's kind of what I took from the first day, was just work on the basics and develop systems to teach the basics, because I'm at that point right now where I have the opportunity to grow and scale this. I've been a one-man show with some help here and there, but if I want to be able to scale it, I need to have some systems in place to help um, teach those that I'm going to take on. So that was the big takeaways from day one. Just kind of going through that. Um, Actually, backing up to the first thing that morning. So the biggest thing, and I kind of said this to the class right from the beginning. So we're introducing ourselves, and it's, it happens. We do it everywhere. Any class you go, hey, introduce yourself, and
Yeah.
you're like, as soon as it's like, hey, Aaron, you're next. It's like, do 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 do. Like, you're like, I'm just getting up and talking. Like, and I told
Yeah.
Jason that, I told the class that, I was like, hey, the biggest thing is just stepping out of your comfort zone. And a funny story with that. So I think it was I forget what day it was, during dinner or something.
It all
Maybe
blends together.
it all,
Yeah.
yeah. You were like, hey, you should be on the podcast. And instantly I was like, nope,
You
I'm
did
not.
say that. It was
It was instant.
reactive. It was reactive. Like, I
It was,
told you you should be on the podcast. You didn't stop and think. You
no,
immediately within a half second said nope. And I was
yep.
like,
It was like
why?
instant. And you're like,
Yeah.
why? I'm like, I don't know. And you're like, no, really? Like, why? Like, like, you have information to share. Like, people come, like, this is like the start, like, this is where
Yeah.
you learn. This is where you build. You come in and you build the basics, you master the basics, and then you grow from there. So, like, that's what this class does.
That's the biggest thing, though, is I said, like, hey, here, I see an opportunity that you could capitalize off of. And then you you already have told yourself this, that no, I
Yeah,
don't like to do lives. I don't like doing I don't like it. And then, like, what I said in the class was that heartbeat, right?
yeah,
That's the juicy stuff. That's where when you immediately, you should be reactive to raise your hand, right? When
yeah,
your heart races and I'm like, hey, who wants to come up here and role play? You should just do this, because you do have that heart racing. And you know that once you do that, how does your heart feel now?
yeah.
And you're
You're
like,
that much
oh,
better.
I'm more resilient. And so if somebody says, hey, I want to do this, and I think it's breaking down that barrier. That's with most people, is that they don't like, they say they want these things, but then they're not acclimated for those things. So then it is scary. Starting a business is scary.
Yeah,
Talking about yourself in a bunch of strangers is scary. But it's, if you keep doing it, and doing it, is then you harden yourself just a little bit. And I feel like that's what business is you're kind of developing, hardening yourself. When you came to this class and you spoke about yourself, when you do these things, when you're on this podcast right now, how much progression and propagation has happened with yourself and as a business owner since signing up with that class to right now?
yeah,
You're light years ahead of where you were before a week ago. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah. And so
And
that's what, go ahead.
go ahead. And I guess Chelsea touched on that when she was speaking during the class. Was like, you hear this all the time. It's like, you you get up and, or you think about it like cold calling or just talking to somebody. What's the worst they can tell you? Like, they're not, like, if they say no to you, it's not like they don't like you or whatever. Like, when you're
Yeah.
selling, it's like, it's not a shot at you. It's like, hey, like,
It's not
whether it be like,
personal.
it's not a personal thing, you know and
Yeah.
everyone's starting somewhere. So I'm lost now, but
Well,
you got me all fired up.
I know. Well, you talked about Chelsea a little bit. Let me try to present this screen here real quick, just so if everybody doesn't follow me specifically or anything like that. Let me try to play this real quick, and it's a video of Chelsea, but I'm trying to get it to pop. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna share it, and then we're gonna come over here, and I'm going to add it to the stage. So I'm going to play this, but this was Chelsea talking in the class. And what I loved about this is she actually called out, and I'll say it, Tyler's in here. He's commenting even right now. He's got more comments. I'll throw him in there. He had his hand raised up like this all day. And at the end of the first day, I was like, hey man, how's that shoulder feeling? Because he's asking questions, but that's why you're here is you don't want somebody in the corner just like holding up. But she does kind of call out Tyler on some things in this. And I think that's what mostly the class is about too, is accountability. Like the same thing. Let's get on this podcast. And you're like, no. And I'm like, but why? Like, explain to me why you say no. And then you realize that your no is like, I don't have a reason. And then I'm like, so let's go do it. Right.
Yeah. You
and
just got to shift that mindset. You just got to change that mindset, and it's the weakest part. The mind is the weakest part. So
absolutely. It's what's in between your two ears,
You get that going, you get your mind behind it, and you're unstoppable at that point.
So I think Chelsea's really good at this because she's kind of does the same thing that we're all doing as instructors in the class and everything, but she reaffirms it. So let's play it for anybody who hasn't seen it, because you brought her up a little bit. But I think this gets you fired up just a little bit. Let's watch it.
I want to quote everyone, but I don't want to miss my customer. That's how I'm vetting my customers. So I'm saying, let me tell you a little bit more about my service. I'm also telling you about my system. This is how I work. This is what you're paying for, and this is what you're coming. So when I'm quoting you, you're aware of what I'm quoting you for. And I'm going to pick on Tyler for a second, because everybody's sitting there. His trees, I said I would laugh in your face if I saw that tree. And I said, and I would never do that. He goes, why? That's what the customer wants. I said, that's not my service. I would never have a tree like that, and I would never do a tree like that, because that's not my service. So when I quote a tree, I want the customer to understand what they're getting, because there's two different things. I say it all the time. We're talking about peas and carrots. They go together, but they don't grow the same. Peas and carrots do not grow the same. Okay, so they're the same, but they're not. So we gotta make sure our customer understands exactly what we're talking about. So here's my spill.
So what you think about that little riff with Chelsea?
Yeah, so that was great. To be fair to Tyler, she roasted me on my trees too, but I knew that one was coming.
Here's Tyler right here, dude. He's saying when Aaron and I met, we were the first ones there the first day, so we had a lot of time to talk. Good guy to know.
Yeah, it was great to meet up with Tyler. We ended up having a mind shift switch together. We started in the back row of the class, and we made the jump to the front. So I think we definitely got the most of it. Just if you're not on the front, you're not gonna get them.
I think on that last day, it's because people fill things out, right? They're like, well, what is this? Who's everyone and everything? Everybody was so involved very quickly. And then there was like people spread out a little bit, like everybody kind of got their own table and stuff like that. And then on the third day, what's so magical about what Jason did the first 2 days to even set us up and everything to talk about what we talked about is I came to the front on that first day and I said, everybody, there's no seats in the back. Yeah. Everybody's just up front,
Yeah. Everyone's just creeping forward and getting closer and closer.
But that's the thing, is that we are approachable. We will answer your questions, and you guys are eager. And I think that's the biggest thing when you go to something like that, is to capitalize on it. You guys are eager, you're making stuff happen, and you're really effective. I know me and Jason even talked to, he's going to implement it probably in this next training. I started working on it with him a little bit, but he was saying that there's like a fly in here. He was talking about starting a new thing about action taking, and it really spawned from what I saw with you. And I was like, you should kind of do this, And so in his next training, I think he's going to announce it. But he was super excited about it too. But that kind of came from the action taking that you were doing. And I started to see it because this was our first training with Jason. So I didn't even know what to expect. I've never even been to one of his trainings. You know what I mean?
I think it's also, it's the environment that gets created in these classes. It's, you create an environment that's going to foster growth and, spark, interest, and it's just gonna boom. Like you get around like-minded people and great, like it takes off. So yeah. I attribute some to that. So
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's move on to the next topic. I know you talked about it a little bit, but how do you view action taking? And I know with the fire service, it is that there is an emergency and you have skills and tools to solve things. But man, some of the stuff I saw was like, I adapted, right? And so you become this problem solving person, especially in the moment, because a lot of things can happen, especially in an emergency situation. A lot of things you have to control. And so I believe it helped made me the business owner I am today by being in the fire service. But this action taking is, you said it didn't come about. Like, it wasn't like just something you were born with or anything. And I don't know, when have you always been this way? Because I'm seeing it and I'm like,
I
even
definitely
with your
think
first year, it's like, how are you this way versus other people not taking action? You know what I mean?
yeah. I definitely think I had some of it in me, but I think it really helped with the fire department, just developing that. And um, so, yeah, I
But
think,
what about like, so when you take action and then you actually make something with it, do you get this like, dopamine rush or
oh,
anything? And you're kind of like, I do these things because the result is this, and I know if I do this, then I get the result. Because a lot of
and
people want the result, but they're also, their heartbeats like fluttering in their chest and
yeah,
everything, and
yeah,
then they don't, they don't really take action because they're a little bit scared, or they'll be like, well, maybe let me come down from this heart racing, and then maybe I might do it, and then they don't do it, right? And so it's like you kind of, what other things besides the Christmas lights that I've seen have you just like taken action and done, or is this something new that's coming about?
I think the Christmas light thing has been new, but I think definitely with the fire department, you have to take action because just like kind of getting hired on the fire department, like you're not gonna get it, like you're not just gonna walk into it. Whether to get LA City, the first to get LA City was like
Yeah, it's
a dream
hard.
come true.
Yeah,
But then to leave a fire service job to go get another fire service job, to go through that process all again, like you have to start back at the basics. Start back
yeah,
at the bottom. You're not coming in, you're not leaving one department to promote at another one.
yeah.
You're like, your experiences with moving departments is you start all the way back at the bottom, you know.
Oh, I
You,
I was a probie 4 times in
yeah,
13 years, dude.
yeah.
But that's what I'm hired for, and that's what I approached it as.
And
Um,
yeah, and that's the mentality to have, because once you change that mindset, like, and people will see that, like,
well, you were saying like even when you were interviewing, you still remember the golden nuggets of the things you
so
would drop in your interview questions, and
yeah,
it's so I was the same way. Like, there's one quote that I would say also, and it's being in charge is a lot like looking pretty. If you have to tell people you are, you're not. And that was like a golden nugget thing that I heard in the fire service. And there's many
yeah,
more, but I have that
but they,
same mentality is like, who's the boss around here? If you have to ask that, then you just don't know. The way I walk, the way I talk, the way I command at a scene or something like that is I don't have to
yeah,
wear a white helmet or a red helmet for you to understand who's in
yeah,
control here, And so I
yeah.
thought that was very powerful with your words and your actions. People can see this too.
And that kind of makes me think of who's the podcast you did with the firemen above the cut,
A cut above.
above
Yeah, John Chen. John
John
Chen out of
Chen.
Trophy Club. Yep.
Yeah, so I was listening to his today, and he was talking about kind of your mindset of kind of just being a leader and stuff. I think it was that one where he's talking about showing up to a job site, or maybe it was with Chelsea, when wearing sandals and stuff. Who
Oh
was
yeah.
that? Like,
No,
like
that was Chelsea that she said that, but
maybe
it's
that was
because
Chelsea.
you show up to a job site and
That
you're like
that
a company man with sandals.
Yeah, so like kind of
Yeah.
sorry, I listened to a bunch of them over the last couple days. But just kind of having that mindset of like, hey, like I'm not I'm not the face of the team. I'm part of the team.
Oh
Like you're
yeah, there
getting
you
getting
go.
in there, and taking basically taking action. So
Well, the thing is your company has a logo, and that's one I may have mentioned this on another podcast, but it was how like people would come to me or they would talk amongst themselves as employees and they would say, well, Joey said, Joey
yeah,
said, Joey said. And I really got sick of it where I was like, no, Murphy Christmas Lighting said, our standard says this. If there needs something where it doesn't meet our standard or a unique situation, you can report up to me and then I may amend something, fix the policy or standard. But this is the way we move.
yeah,
So I'm always repeating the way we move, but that now it's up for debate is like, no, this is how we move. These are our systems. These are our processes. Function within those. And so I don't like that people would say that because I'm building a thing that's not just me. So
Yeah.
Joey said to do this, and it's like, no, Murphy Christmas Lighting, the organization, the entity said this.
Yeah.
I just happened to be a title called owner or whatever.
Yeah.
With Chelsea, I'll she runs a lot of the company too, and so on forms and stuff, we'll put owner or whatever. And I was like, just do founder for me. Just say I founded it and that you're running it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're really the one running the ship.
Yeah, and that's the mentality to have, because when there's a win in the company, it's not a win for Joey, it's a win for the company. Like we all move forward, we all succeed together, and we all fail together.
Yeah, because we had a win in the class, me and Chelsea did, and we high-fived. It's like, yes, we did it, as a team, we did it.
And that's another thing, with that, like Jason's up there talking, and the only reason we knew about it was because he was like, "Hey, what's going on back there?" And you guys,
because we were in the far back like this, but we did it very subtle. I didn't want to disrupt the class. I didn't.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. Like you guys are in here teaching a class, and you guys are celebrating, like a celebration of like, hey, like Nux, like we closed this job, but we're moving on to the next. It's it's a huge job. Like it's still what was it, like 2 something over 3 years?
Yeah, projected over 200,000 job over 3 years, and it's like, that's a good one, and it's all the hard work that you do, and it's the tireless hours, especially on commercial side, is you'll be working, and sometimes it may take 2 years to see some result off of a property or something. And so when you do the work and it's like been built for 6 months brewing, and then you're able to like actually see it and high five, is just like, it's a good moment.
Yeah.
And especially with your spouse.
And I guess that takes us back to what day 2 of the class was, since I guess we stopped at day 1. But we hit marketing and sales the next day. Chelsea, Jason started the day out, and then Chelsea took it from there, because she's kind of she was doing a lot of just had with that prior experience of selling with the high-end retail, and kind of transferring all that in knowledge and stuff to selling the lights. Kind of one thing that's made it difficult for me is I've been selling the bulb, like, hey, it seems like most guys do, we sell statistics, like we sell the numbers, it'll last for this long, where ladies tend to sell on that emotion. So it was great. So doing that role play through the class, and kind of again stepping out of your comfort zone and talking about it. And
that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of people were scared to do the role playing, and you could tell they were a little uncomfortable, and they may not be themselves exactly if they just had a customer, because there's a lot of eyes looking on you. But man, the development with that role playing, I know Chelsea, she was discussing about the role playing and everything with Tyler and everything, and then the whole thing was like, you could see it in the video, and we clipped it or whatever, but in some of the video that we got is Chelsea, stopped and adjusted, and then they took the information, but you can see in their voices, they're like, let's run it again. Let's run it again.
Like, okay, like, let's take that and like, let's grow.
Yeah. I know what to do now. Give me another scenario. And when you saw the eagerness of these people, and then they ran it again, and it was so much better. And they took it. And then from there, we kept building and building it. And you can just keep doing this over and over and over and over again. But I think it instills that confidence that a lot of people like everybody's heart's racing. Everybody's the same here, but it's our job to get up there and actually kind of break that down and actually develop as people like in this room right now.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty powerful.
Exactly. So,
we got a couple comments here. Tyler just blowing it up, dude. He says, "I see you all the time on Facebook, Ron." Ron, the founder, the flounder, the fish. And then we got Sean Garvey out of Louisiana. Good evening, gents. Man, people are piping Ron up on here. They like him, man. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing, is I don't think people in the class knew who he was or kind of what they do. And that's one big thing about being in a seasonal business like this by yourself, is it is a lonely world, and you do these things and you just win in silence, and so it's nice that other people get to talk good about people, and then also see what they're doing and be like, I didn't even know you were here, you know, and you're just right down the road from me. And it's
that's what you do.
Yeah. Right. So, it's like kind of knew something, but I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah. And then sorry,
you got something? No, you're fine.
Yeah.
You got
so then kind of going to day 3 of the class, that's kind of where you took over, and went with your part, kind of just diving into that commercial contract stuff. It's kind of scary to think that I was going to jump in to go do a city bid without that knowledge. You're like, oh, you don't know what you don't know, but I didn't know it was that much. So there's just the things to watch out for, and then just kind of develop. I think the really good part was developing that business model. We developed the business. We kind of start from the beginning. Like, what's our model? What are we doing? What's our name?
We did this on a dry erase board from the beginning, 0 to 1 million. We're going to map it, and we're going to all build it together right now. Let's do this.
So we kind of talked about this over dinner one night, and we were kind of talking about like a timeline. You start your business. You what do? You create your name, you do all your stuff, and you're kind of going along, and then you kind of make a decision that it's not a bad decision, but it makes it hard on yourself. So you start climbing, and it kind of gets hard. It starts getting hard. You keep on climbing. Then you figure out what you're doing. And you come back down, to that line. But with that is like, had you taken a class or had you done something to better yourself, like that distance traveled, like going up was distance, like you just didn't get as far. So like you can keep on chugging along. So with that, just kind of back to that mindset of, like, hey, you're going to be resilient with that.
The thing is a lot of time we make decisions, but maybe we idolize something that wasn't really reality. And
exactly.
That's one thing is I said, don't idolize things. Actually, like, do your research, do your homework on it. Because like you said, when you go up and you make a decision in your business and you stick to it and you're like, this is who we are. That's why I was saying I'm very more liquid now than I used to be. I used to be like, hey, I think this is what's going to make this thing successful. Yeah. Really, it's about what comes your way and then how do you make success with it. The people, the contracts or whatever is like you're building something, but all the time the finished product is not what you thought it was.
Yeah.
Right. Is I got into Christmas signing. I had no what we taught in that third day. I did not know from the beginning. I tripped and called and stumbled. And that's why we take these classes is to get the continued education and then to kind of update yourself so you can be more successful faster. It's just, you didn't know, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And I don't know if anyone is talking about these things, like a big thing for me was like, okay, like a simple thing. We were talking about that lift, we were breaking down the lift. You're like,
yeah,
you think a successful business, I'm buying that lift. And you're like, okay, but is that what we want to do? Let's break it down. So we break it down and it's like, okay, I'm buying this lift, and that's really not the best. That's not a successful business. Just because you bought something and you have assets doesn't mean you're a healthy business, And that kind of goes back to going back to the man hours, It's like, just because you're super busy doesn't mean you're a successful business.
Yeah.
So it's just another way of looking at things, like it just opens your mind to, hey, pull this out of the tool belt. Let's look at it this way. And is that the best way?
So do you think that the class gave you a bunch more tools to be able to look at things a little differently to make better decisions?
Oh, 100%.
100%. 100. Remember Ryland? You watched Ryland?
Yeah, I heard 100. 100. Yeah, I did hear that one. Yeah, So, like, I couldn't get enough of it, So
we got 2 more comments here. Oh, it's just Ron Pipe. It's what's up, and then ABCs. He's just reiterating the basics there. I did when we went out to dinner one night. Was it dinner? I don't know. It's a big blend, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of information over 3 days. But I think
I paid for 24 hours. I think I paid for a 24-hour class, but I got like 48 between lunches and dinners and 1 a.m. with Jason down in the.
I know lobby. That's the thing. Is like he was saying he was down in the lobby with you doing this stuff, and I'm like, man. Yeah. The thing is, like, I have to go home and I got to get this and set up and bring more stuff into the warehouse like you guys were talking about and stuff. And it's just, but Jason was down there in the middle of the night helping you build your profile and stuff.
We're just cranking stuff out. Yeah, we were just cranking stuff out. We went through LinkedIn. I have a list here. LinkedIn. We went through review cards. There's like you said, there's probably 10 or 12 things. So, and there's a couple more too since I've left. So.
That's the thing is like we got 8 hours to talk, but then there's also after the class networking, and then also you're going to take it. You're up in your hotel, and you were down in the lobby building it, and Jason goes down there checking to see, make sure everybody's okay. And then he sees you there and you guys are going to work again. And it's
Yeah,
like,
just
that's what I love to see, and how much work that guy puts in to this type of
Oh, yeah.
industry. You can see it. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't even
it's
know
great.
that you guys did that night. I
Yep.
saw the next morning and I was like, you did what? I
Yeah.
was like, you didn't
And
go to
then-
bed?
Yeah. He helped me and then I helped him, we're just shooting some content for his LinkedIn and all his stuff, it's still got to get done.
Well, I did on, I think I told you, and I was like, hey, I want you to watch this podcast. This is the only podcast I've ever watched twice. You know what I mean? So I sent you that podcast and you looked at me and you're like, I'm going to watch this tonight. You're like, and I said, good, because I want to, I would like to share some podcasts and stuff. When people see good things, it's kind of like share them, and it's almost like a book club, right? It's like, but if you clip something, hey, at what moment did you hear this in the podcast? And then you get it. And what do you think about it? I love business strategy and stuff like that, or epiphany moments, enlightenment type things. And so with that podcast that I sent you, like, what's your favorite parts? What'd you get from it? Because when you came in that morning, you were like, oh, that podcast? Fire.
Yeah.
And everybody in the class was like, what podcast? No, he didn't send me a podcast,
Yeah, let me see if I can find the notes on it.
Yeah, no worries.
I think the 1 hour podcast took me a couple hours with the notes. Because I had heard you mention something on Jason's podcast. You were talking to him and he talked about this podcast and you're like, I've never listened to a podcast twice. And I was like, oh, okay. Like maybe he's going to say it. Maybe he's going to tell us what it is. And then you never said it. And I was like, all right, whatever. So
I'm waiting for somebody to do the initiative of saying, hey, you said this, what is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me see, I can't find it now. Anyways, so what's his first name? I remember his last name, Priestley.
Yeah, Priestley. Yeah. I can pull it real quick. But
pull it up if you can.
It's modern wisdom, and it's Chris Williamson that hosts it, but then he had this guy on here, and I really didn't know much about him. But that's what's beautiful.
Yeah, and it kind of started out like I thought it was like slow. It kind of started out pretty slow. I'm like, what? Like, this is gonna be a hard one. Like, I should chat GBT this and get the cliff notes on this. And
don't do that.
And figure this out. But I stuck with it, and then I was like, when is it? What was he looking for here? I'm like, is it gonna be hard to find? Anyways, so he starts talking about what did he start talking about? Oh, he kind of started talking about running a business and stuff. Kind of how his prior experience working as a club promoter or something like that kind of set him up for versus recruiting or raising money for a $20 million startup or something like that. So basically kind of equating how it's the same thing, it's just bigger numbers. And then they kind of ended on the point of that section of like, hey, there's a 23-year-old running McDonald's and there's 16-year-olds that can't clean their room, but they're having $4,000 hours at McDonald's. Like, this is like, they have these systems and they can somehow follow them. Like, this is what your business need is, just systems. So he talks about the chaos model, which I think was, I forget what it is, customers, hook, audience, offer, audience, systems. I can't find my notes on it.
You may have to re-go over your notes tonight.
Yeah, but so talking about that, but that kind of just set it up. So it was the setup to like find your niche market. So he kind of goes through like how are you going to find your niche market, and basically kind of the steps. So a little backstory.
He does explain the like different types of models of business, right? Like a niche business and a boutique kind of business and stuff.
So that kind of the chaos model is kind of trying to get to that point. So I listened to that, I got all that down, and it was like, okay. I'm like, where is he going with this? So basically, he gets down to the point where you find your market and creating these ideas. So once he's done that, I'm like, okay, now we're in. For us, this is Christmas lights. So he goes through the steps of kind of building your business. And prior to this point, I was like, am I doing the right thing? Am I at the right spot? Should I be trying to scale at this point? Should I step back? And after hearing this, I was like, Joey, I'm on the right path. Full send. Like, we're going for it. Full send. Right. So I kind of have a question for you regarding that. So kind of with your business, how did you scale? So he talks about the hiring that first person, when to hire that first person, going from a team of 2 to two to four, 4 to 8, and kind of just that plan.
Yeah, and he does talk about, I'm not sure what number it is, but he's like, yeah, number 13 is like
13's a no-go.
Like, no-go. And it's because there's really no place for them. And so he replicates, and I talk about in our training about mitosis. So it's the splitting and it's replication of yourself. It's growth, right? And that's how I kind of view business, is that you start the business, but it's your job to replicate yourself, but not replicate yourself. You take slivers of this thing and you replicate it, right? That's what McDonald's did, is they broke it down to the minute level where they can hire somebody. They don't even have to think really, and they can do and create these things. And it's a great bridge. But with it is, I did start that way. One person got a second person, and then I quickly grew to like, hey, I need more guys, 4 guys. And then we ran a season like that. And then I was like, okay, I want another crew. Well, we do crews in 2s to 3s, depending on projects and everything. And tracking those man hours and stuff. That's what we talk about in the class, man hours. And so we can make decisions on the projects that we have based on the time that they're available. And it's not a bias thing. It's very linear. So we talk about variables and constants and stuff like that. Well, manpower is the variable, right? Like how they move. Every company, there's forms of loss of revenue by stealing time or not showing up here. Maybe I go, do something that's not even in the company for 30 minutes and nobody's watching me. So it's always, that's why people have pay for performance and stuff like that. It's because really you just want it nonstop. When you're at work, just hit it hard and do it. And I kind of have that kind of attitude. But as we scale and grow, not everybody is the same. And I've come to learn people. So when you create a business, you don't really know business. Right. And then along the way, business. But the biggest thing is you don't know people. You don't know how to talk to people. Like I may in my heart feel a certain way, like, man, you really don't have to come in as much during this time. Guess what they're going to do? Not come in. They're going to be like, you told me I didn't have to come in as much. And it's like, well, there was a high in demand. It's like, I saw a gap in a window of this, but now we're going to compensate you this way. And so it's like one thing Chelsea said when she was in retail that just blew my mind. And a lot of people may not be considering this. And this is why this stuff exists, right? Is when you look at like HR in a company, is like a person may not show up on time. And they know they need to come to work at 8 to 5, whatever. But they are 8:30, 8:15, 8:40, or whatever. And then you discipline them, you write little notes, and it's like, okay, we're going to put you on a performance improvement plan. We're going to try to get you back on track. And then HR kind of tells Chelsea as a manager, she's like, did you tell them that they had to be here at 8? Did you tell them you're supposed to be here at 8? And Chelsea's like, it's on the schedule. And they're like, but did you say it to them? Because that's the communication breakdown, is that maybe they couldn't access their schedule. They couldn't do this or whatever. But everybody's showing up at 8, and this is the job, and it's onboarding, and it's all this stuff. But did you physically say, we need you here at 8 to 5 every day? If you do this many times, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And it's like, you think it's like common sense. But the thing is like, you didn't say it, and you didn't say it in the right way, right? Like if you don't show up, then we're going to give you a write-up, right? You have to show up at 8. If you show up at 8:15, there's a buffer there. If you don't call within an hour of knowing that you're late, then we're going to write you up. And it's like the step-by-step procedure. Again, what did Joey say? Or what did Murphy Christmas Lighting said? It's like, what's the standard, right? And it just kind of blew my mind that you actually have to tell people to show up. And it's like, I don't want to hire people that have to that's their mentality. Unless you're like 18, 19 years old or something. I understand you don't have a lot of life experiences, but why am I telling like a 25-year-old to show up on time? That is a little crazy, but that's the world we live in. Like I said, I'm trying to be liquid and I'm trying to move. Is like, well, did you really not know? And it's like, well, I kind of knew, but I really didn't know. And it's like, okay, well, guess what? Now you know, right? Now what you need to do.
Now, having those systems in place, it just shows like you got to have them.
It makes your business kind of operate smoothly instead of there being like confrontation. I don't like confrontation, right? I just want us to come to work and everybody win. But how do you make it seem seamless? You have to think about every move. You have to think about the people and who they are as people. Like Jason talked about love languages. Is like, if I knew people's love languages, which we've end up figuring out over time, right? But it's like, if I knew that, I would have not stepped that way with you. Because I do things differently, right? I'm very much of a leader that's kicking doors, take names kind of thing, It's like, let's load up, let's go, everybody roll out, we're hanging live. And it's like, not a lot of people react.
There's that one person in the corner that's like,
and,
Yeah.
and Chelsea is very good with people. She's a very good people manager. And so she, a lot of times is she makes the job fun. She does. Is a lot of times, even last year, they said they were pretty open with me, and they're like, when you come in the warehouse, you make it a little less fun. And I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, that kind of hurts a little bit. It's like, I don't want people not to have fun, but at the same
Yeah.
time, is as a business owner, you're carrying and you're considering everything everywhere. You're just taking a different load on your shoulders. I think that's what the role kind of tells, you know. But
Yeah.
it's definitely knowing people and the site, how to talk to people. That's the next step in business. Once you kind of build it up and you do the mitosis thing, well, now you're splitting and you're doing the sliver. Well, how do you get this person to be effective? And the other thing is that they can be proud of the work they're putting in, right?
Yeah.
It's not just do the work. It's also that they're goal setting and they're doing these things. And you're like, man, I want to high five my employees. You know, I don't give a lot of those out. My employees would be laughing a little bit. They're like, yeah, Joey, if we do win, Joey's like, you know, that's your job kind of, you know, but it's like, I just am that type of leader, but that's why Chelsea compliments me so well.
And that's what I think Chelsea hit on it during the class was, you know, like kind of like, what are your goals? You know, like, what are your goals as you guys, as a company? Like, what, like, do you, like you said, hey, I want to do this really big wreath. I want to try doing a really big wreath. Or like, what are your goals this season? Like in business and your personal goals, you know, because, and that's just having that connection.
Well, stop right there. What? Stop right there. I'm going to throw in a comment and then I'm going to ask you a question about what your goals for 2025 is. But we got Paul Gardner on here. He commented some stuff and he says, sounds like to me you're ready to hire that first hire. So Paul Gardner's he has a sign company and everything else. He's speaking at an event. I just saw it on Facebook and everything. He's a smart guy and he's saying he feels like you're ready to like mitosis just a little bit and replicate yourself. And then he says most people wait too long to start that hire. So with that is, are you looking to hire and start that hire? What is your goals for 2025?
Yeah, so I think I'm in a unique situation. I had someone reach out to me, and kind of the end of last season, like, hey, like I'm a light installer coming down from the Bay Area, and like I think he called just to kind of feel me out, but I was like, hey, like, so what do you do? And he was like, oh, I think I caught him off guard. But he was like, hey, like, let's partner up, you know, like he's going to do door to door for pest control and over the summer, but he's coming back, and I'm like, hey, like, let's partner up. Like, you're gonna have that experience, and let's run with it, you know. So I think that's gonna be, we're gonna head that direction. But right now I have a 40-hour week that I'm trying to figure out. So it's like this could be that X factor that we talked about during the class, you know. You can be like you said, I can give you everything I have for $1 million company, and you could take it and make $5,000. You know, and you could give it to the next person and they could take and do 2 million. So you're the X factor with that. So knowing that information, you know, like we've gotten the tools. We've gotten the tools from the class, and like, just, you know, like I said, full send, put everything you have into it and watch it grow. So
well, that's the thing.
I think
some people are also full sending and they don't know where they're landing or anything else.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. You got to surround yourself with the right people. Take a class, and you missed the Dallas class. That was the runway to be on.
And
to take
some
off.
people capitalized on it, right? Like yourself and a dozen other people. And it's like, well, how much further are you than other people? And there's a lot of out of towners in this class too. The DFW is massive, and there's a lot of people.
I think, what was it? So there was someone, Brandon and his fiance were there from Michigan. I think that was his second class. Jason's class.
I guarantee you that class was way different than the first.
Oh, I definitely. I don't think there's been a class like it. So that's a big part. There's some guys from down in Houston. There was someone was in from Detroit, I think it was.
Well, that was them. Northern Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. Northern Michigan. Who else? So a lot of people traveled. Missouri.
So people had to catching flights. Even you were like, I'm like, oh, when do you need to leave? And you're like, literally, I was supposed to leave like 5 minutes ago, but I have another question for you. And I'm like, you better not miss your plane, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk later, you know?
Yeah. So So yeah, so with that first tire, I think we're locked and ready to go with that and get that taken off. But I think 2 and 3 will come pretty soon after that. So
Yeah, I think year
um,
3 is super big with Christmas. So we talked a little bit about being the architects of your business. Like really, it's not just building it, it's like really engineering it, being an architect and everything to make sure that you do have the foundation, that you do want to build a high rise of this business and grow a big company. But there's certain steps that you have to do, with that. Um, but let's move on to the next topic. It's what is your weakness and how are you overcoming it? So I know with me is I really, got to know myself more through business, and it opened up opportunities for me to understand why maybe I think away or do the things. Why don't I take action as fast as Aaron does? And it's like once you kind of expose those things about yourself, now you really have self-awareness. And I feel like people who are super successful know who they are. Not that they're
yeah,
trying to change it, but that they view it differently, and so they transform a little bit. And I
yeah,
feel like with business and stuff is exposing the weaknesses of yourself. I know Chelsea calls me the Muffin Man, and the reason why that is I can't watch the muffins be made. And with that is I have the recipe to make the muffins, and I want to taste the muffin at the end. But I really have a hard time watching people work because ergonomically, like the steps, and you forgot this, and you're like, what? Me is I'll just run circles around you because I'm not double stepping, double working. And so they call me the Muffin Man. But I'm very self-aware of that. I don't, when people have to work, is I kind of step away and let them do it. Here's your timeline. You do it. Good job. But a lot of times it's like prepping bulbs or doing this is you can run faster. A Christmas light company, it is a short window. And if you do things a certain way, you could go faster, open up time. So it's about, that the time is like people say, oh, buy time or this or get time back. I think it's a manipulation of time. I think it's order management of time. I know Rob Dyrdek talks about this. I don't know if you guys know who Rob Dyrdek is,
yeah,
but if you listen to his podcast and stuff, he engineered his whole life around this stepping of time and opening time, and he really self-aware of himself, even how he gets a haircut and everything. I mean, he's so calculated in his life, and because I feel like business owners get to where they can't make any more time, so they try to run harder or they try to split themselves, and it gets a little chaotic and everything. But I think if you're really self-aware and you expose your own weaknesses, that you will end up going down a path that you're going to be more successful, more aware, less anxiety and stuff like that, because you know where things kind of are in reality versus idolizing. So
yeah.
what with you is your weakness, and how are you trying to alter it, overcome it, or just embrace it?
Yeah, I would say kind of I haven't had that experience like in talking about like, working with employees, but I can already see it developing, and I know it will be a weakness because of so last night I got all fired up from the class and now I'm putting together yard signs. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start putting out yard signs now. If I have to buy more, I'll buy more. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, how long does it take me to do 100 signs? Okay, 13 minutes, that's 13 seconds a sign. So if I pay somebody to do this, I should expect them to be able to do it in this amount of time. Like
No.
you're like this is just like
Maybe 80% of the time, like they'll never finish it as fast as you.
and it's like just like starting off with that mindset, being like creating those systems to let an employee, work, hey, maybe it does take them 30 minutes, but that's one less thing that you have to do.
Yeah, it frees
kind
up
of
your time.
it frees
Yeah.
up my time and being able to step back, like you said, let people work, don't micromanage. So I think that's definitely something that's gonna definitely come up. But just
Well, there's a couple comments here, even based on the guy that with the partnering and the door to door, which it's your business, do what you want, but they got some things to say about it, and
yeah,
it
love
says,
to hear it.
so let's pop in Ron's thing. He said there's not been a class like it, so the class that had it, Ron wasn't even there. What are you talking
Yeah,
about, Ron?
yeah,
You weren't even
yeah.
there, dude. You don't even
Who's
know.
who's sending you the videos?
And then, so Paul's got some advice here. He says, don't sell yourself short. Hire him. No partnership is needed. Pay him based on performance. Make him want to work for you year after year. Dustin House has a great model for this. And so
Awesome.
he's saying just with the approach of it is like you own the company, but then I kind of had the same thing where I wanted people to like really build the company. So I wanted to give them some of the company in a certain
Yeah.
aspect of the way. It's just to really pay on performance. And I've heard stories of people that didn't even start Chris's companies and ended up being like a right-hand guy, taking it over and it doing millions, right? It's like, you never know what's going to happen with business, but with it is you started this thing, you kind of have the recipe, and pay him for his performance.
Yeah.
Maybe not use the word partnership. That's the way I'm taking it,
Yeah.
because it's really, let's do this together. You're a big part of this machine, right? Especially if you only have one employee, it's like, I need your help to build this thing. But
Yeah.
they're not really a partner because they're not staying up till 3 a.m. They're going to bed, they're doing these things. And so I think that is good sound advice, and just consider it. But again, it is your business. Do what you want.
No,
And
that's
then-
great. That's great. You know,
Yeah, Ron says you got that right. No business partners needed. That's what he said. I don't know what we said, but we said it. So it's just kind of having that mindset of like, how do I want to build this business? Even when we did that whiteboard strategy of the business, is like, well, if you get and replicate, do this mitosis thing, is like you create roles and responsibilities under you, slivers of you, but are they your partner?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't do this without them, but that doesn't mean that they're a partner. Is you run the ship, you're the captain of the ship, and that's what it is. You need somebody to raise sales, you need somebody to do these things. And so it's kind of making sure that you step appropriately with that. Otherwise, the agreement between you guys, as money comes into play, money does change people. I've seen it many times. And so definitely step lightly with that, especially when guys are growing their company, is understand what it is, understand the people you have with you, and understand where their goals and where they want to go. Because you never want to do that. And then they're like, well, I'm not going to do this unless I'm going to be a partner.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then I don't know if this is going to work, essentially. Right. So
no, great. I appreciate it. It's
Chelsea says he's not playing, he's really doing lights.
This is a real business.
See, that's what she said. This is a real business.
And I think that's a big thing, you know? Like, I think we get I got sucked into like, hey, this is extra money, you know? Started doing it as extra money or whatever it may be.
Side hustle. So it's a side hustle, real business.
You have the side hustle mentality, you know, like, hey, this is a side hustle. And then it goes to like, someone's like, hey, it's kind of ties into like knowing your customer, you know, like, hey, someone's like, hey, can you do this for this much? And you're like, yeah, I can do it. You know, it's a side hustle, you know, any money's better than no money, you know? Right. So you start getting that mindset, and then it's like, hey, well, look, I'm the lowest guy on the totem pole now, you know, I'm the $99 guy. Cool. Yeah. This,
you trapped yourself.
But you know what though? That's where everyone's at, you know? There's all those $99 guys. You're going to be down there with the rest of them. You know, you want to be at that top, you know, providing that service, providing that value.
Well, they say create the magic or white glove, red carpet service, but like, what is that? And it's really good business practices, business strategy, money management, you know, signing up for things. I know we talked about money management and stuff, and people are like, well, what do you use? And I'm like, well, with our accounting, we use QuickBooks with my CPA, and he can kind of go in here. And then you're like, which one? QuickBooks Online? Okay. And then you went in there and you did the subscription and everything. And I'm like, you got to link your bank accounts. You got a bunch of work to do, but you're like, first action, sign up for it.
It's already linked. So, we're already good to go. I was already labeling categories.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's so fast. Like by lunchtime, you've already created a chart of accounts. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I was like, I did tell you at dinner, I was like, I look for people like you to hire. Like, I don't even know if I could afford you of how much you move and everything. You know what I mean?
No,
and so
but
it's enlightening to see people take action like that. That's what you want out of your employees and everything else. And you can really see that you really do care about this. You do care, like you said, your why is your family. You do really care about your family, and you can just see it through your actions. You came and you traveled away from your family to come to this training, and I would say if your family's listening, like you did your family name proud, right? Like Chelsea says all the time, she's like, don't dishonor your family name to our boys and everything. So I actually go up to Hit, and she's like, do not dishonor us, you know. And so I think you did a service to your family by taking action at the event, being away from your family, all that. You didn't have to do that, but when you were there, I do believe you did capitalize on it like drastically from my viewpoint.
Yeah, no, I think it was a great opportunity.
Well, let's wrap this up because you're in California, man, and we're 2 hours behind. The sun's setting here.
I'm just, it's still light. We're still,
you're like, come on, let's keep
some more to go.
Keep this party going, man. We got an Invisalights training tomorrow. There's even guys that's on the last minute and everything. We're going to be at the warehouse. I think there's a couple guys even from the class that were local, because there was a couple local guys, and I think some of them signed up for the class. I know everybody's like, I want to come see your warehouse, and I'm like, it's really just a big warehouse full of Christmas stuff. Like,
it kind of looks like a Costco with Christmas lights stuff.
Yeah, it's like, and it's hot and stuff. But yeah, we got Invis training tomorrow. I'm super excited about that. The way we teach it, voltage drop, we do real life scenarios with voltmeters and stuff. Really showing people how to make money with it, and at the same time, like building a resilient business with it and stuff. So a lot of what we did in the class, I just bleed that over into the permanent light training. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, let's wrap it up and tell us any words of encouragement, some maybe what you see in other people, anything maybe you didn't cover in the class that you wanted to talk about. Like, we still got some time, so let's roll. I mean, I'm not on a rush to copy you off or kill it, but it's
it was a really good class. To anyone that's considering doing a class or stuff, don't wait. Jump in there, get out there, and put your name out there. You're only gonna get what you put into it. And I know that's so cliche, but but this class, like, I'm thinking back, is like, I should have done this a year ago. I should have done this 2 years ago. Like, I was doing Jason's stuff, and you learn the basics and all that, but once you start getting a different perspective on stuff, like, it was great having Jason there and you guys in there, because, like, you guys disagree on stuff. Like, there's 100 different ways to do something, but you have the, like, hey, this is why I do this. Like, I've done this and this has been the outcome. But you're like, well, I've done this and this has been the outcome. Neither one is wrong or right, but it's like, these are all tools in your toolbox that are just going to set you up for success. So, like I said,
that's the thing with Jason is we never really, disagreed or anything. It's more of like, it's like Baskin Robbins, and they have a lot of different flavors. It's just, this is my flavor off that topic of what I've seen in my scenario.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's what I love, is the collaboration with other people of what works, what doesn't. Because there was people in Northern Michigan, and they were saying, like, I didn't even know we had to do that. And they look it up and they're like, this is what it is and everything. And I'm like, but that's my experience. And I always say, go with your county, with your stuff, go look into it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not an expert of the whole nation or anything. I just know what Texas is, and this is what we're doing,
Yeah.
So
I think that was a big thing. And another big thing is the meta glasses.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to do that, dude.
I know.
We were trying to at that one place, but
I figured it out. It works pretty good.
Yeah. So Spanish, and then the meta glasses, we were trying to do a translation, but we had bad service at the time we were trying to do it. But I've got meta glasses, you got meta glasses, and I was like, let's translate, because English and Spanish, and so, like, let's see if this is really truly something that we can utilize. And we didn't get to do that 100%. Yeah, and I kind of hate that we didn't.
I got the update now, and it's good to go. It was good. So because
we're going to use it.
I'm already buying the next pairs for the guys that I'm going to hire. So I'm just already planning.
I mean, that's what we're going to do. Let's see. Oh, Chelsea's saying. So Ron says, "What's up, homie?" Ron Roby, hey, where's my girl? Laura, his wife. They're a powerhouse couple too in the lighting industry and everything. So
they got a class coming up, right? Next month.
I don't know the exact date. Maybe Ron could
coming up though.
Jason's going to be down there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be.
It sounds like it's going to be a good one. Doing the permanent light installs, a couple days of that.
Especially right before the season starts, it helps. Like, that surge that we gave you guys in this class is you're riding that wave and you're just getting started now, which is very good. Yeah. It's a very appropriate time to get started. But the guys that are getting super late, it's like, okay, like Ron says, is get off your ass and get busy, right? It's just got to go. Jason says take action, it's just go, just run with it. And that's why I really wanted you on here to say these things, because you're an action taker. I saw with my own eyes 3 days, just bulletproof, just nonstop, like a freight train. You were taking action, and that's what we like to see, especially as instructors or business owners. It helps inspire us. I know Jason said when he left the class, it invigorated him too, to do what he keeps doing, because like I said, it does get lonely after a while, and people say good things, but when you see people really developing and building structures off of your words, it makes you feel good, and knowing why you do what you do too, that it is working.
Yeah.
So,
let's get back on here and do a check-in, after the season
Well,
or
I thought about
mid-season.
this. I thought about this today. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe the guys watching all this stuff, but Tyler was like, I want to read and all this stuff, but maybe because I've been having one-on-ones, is maybe we get together and there's 4 or 5 of us in here, and try to do like a group thing, and try to get some insight on some other stuff. Maybe in a month or so, see how people are taking action and the progression of their business and stuff like that, so that they can comment just like you are, but like, what have you done? Because Aaron's like a big action taker. I bet he's got more done than anybody around here, but with that is you take those actions, but do you have results with it? And that's what I want to see.
Let's link back up mid-season. I know that would be a really quick podcast, be like a 5-minute podcast. What's going on with you, kind of in the thick of it, but just to kind of like keep that accountability, hey, where have you gone? How are your 3 employees doing? How's everything going? And just keep rocking. So
hell yeah, man. Well, it has been a pleasure of doing this live. I appreciate you saying all the kind words about me and Jason with doing that training and everything. I'm glad to know you. I'm really watching you. I follow your pages and everything else, and I'm sure you're doing the same. But I like to follow like-minded people, and I feel like you do have the mindset. You just, maybe me or Jason got started earlier, and you're going to be there too. And it's like to build you up as a peer and everything else, and try to help you grow. I did say, I extended myself to people in the classes. If you need anything, just hit me up, hit Jason up and everything, and we're pretty responsive to it. But I do want everybody to stay involved and really do what you said you would do, which is develop and grow, right? As a human being and your company, that you got to do those both at the same time. And it's a big deal to be super successful that way. So I really loved having you on here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And
I'll hop you off here. And if anybody wants to follow Aaron, go ahead and say all your stuff. Say what platforms you're on and everything.
I just started up my Instagram. I think it's Slow Holiday on Instagram. I'm probably biggest on LinkedIn. I'm working towards that commercial stuff. So that's what I'm really hitting hard right now. And Jason kind of harped on that, just hit that LinkedIn hard, but it's going to be a long road with that. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Slow Holiday Lights, or Aaron King. If you need anything, reach out to me. I'd love to chat and kind of grow together. So thanks, Joy. Thanks, Chelsea. Appreciate all your guys' hard work this last week, and Jason. So
hell yeah, man. Well, I hope you have a good season, and we'll be hearing more from you for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Adios.